Okay, we've got everything running now. Mastering negotiation, getting to yes on your terms every single time. And that can be such a challenge. It is for some people, and it's not your fault. If you sell automobiles and you've been struggling to sell double digits this whole year, for that matter, if you were struggling to sell double digits last year, and you're just like, what is it? Why do I get, I want to think about it. Why do I get, what's your best price so much? Why do I get, let me go home and talk to my spouse about it. Even when you ask the right questions, when you say, is there any other vehicle that you're considering? What do I need to do to earn your business today? Is there anybody else helping you making this decision? And when you get all those great questions, objections out of the way, and I actually forgot, darn it all. Hey gang, hang on 2 seconds with me. I'm so sorry about this. We don't have our Facebook group up here. And here we go. Here we go. I can't believe I almost did that. I think I did it last time. And we want to go live. Here we go. Allow access. There we are. And I thought I was just there. What happened? It's coming. It's got it. Here we go. Oh, dropped off again. Darn it all. No, that's not the one that we want. Always when you need it the fastest, it just doesn't cooperate, right? Okay, and here we go. There are so many choices to pick from, and we're gonna carefully put that in the holder. There we go. Okay. And we're back at it. So sorry. I'm a little bit scrambled because I just did a session this morning and I've got these 4 dots on my forehead. Maybe that's why I forgot to do so. And I don't even have the microphone on. There we go. I went through, every year I do an annual scan of my skin condition. I've had melanoma in the past, and it was just a little tiny piece. It was nothing major. There wasn't any significant treatments or anything. Fortunately, I found it really early. And at the time, they had me on 90-day inspections and 6 months diagnosis, and then every year. And so this is the annual, and it's been a long time ago since then, but found a few pieces on my forehead, a piece on my shoulder, a piece on my back. My doctor's very not very concerned and confident that they're not an issue at all, but they're healing up. And at the time when he did it, it was on Tuesday. He goes, "You don't have any meetings this week planned, or you're not going to be presenting it on stage." And I said, "No, I'm not on stage." And I wasn't, but I'm on here with all of you. And anyhow, let's get to mastering negotiation. That's what you came here to find out all about. So, it's funny when everybody's challenged with, I want to think about it. The price is too much. I need to talk it over with my spouse, my other auto advisor, whomever that is. And we think to ourselves, gosh, how do I get over this hurdle? How does the high achiever in my store sell 10, 20, and 30 vehicles with predictable consistency on a monthly basis, annually, like consistently all the time? How do they do that? And I'm struggling to sell 6, 8, 10. If that's you, you're in the right place, which is great. And the reason being is that if you haven't set up the deal all the way along, and this is so easy for me to say, and maybe it's very elementary and frustrating for you to hear, because you could be thinking to yourself, you're setting up the deal all the way along. And last week we talked about closing and how closing is not negotiation. It is not, because in negotiation, you're not negotiating till somebody says no. It can be you. You can say to a customer, "No, I can't do the price that you're looking for." Now you're negotiating. This is the mistake that Average Ordinary Automobile Sales Training has failed you on. This is the mistake that they've made and not been able to help you. When you say no, it doesn't mean that you should then escort the customer to the front doors and tell them to go away and never come back again. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't follow up with them. It doesn't mean that the customer is a low life and a throttle snapper or tire kicker and all the other horrible things that we can say and think about them. It just simply means you're negotiating. And this is what Average Ordinary Automobile Sales Training doesn't teach. This is what Average Ordinary Automobile Sales people struggle with, because when someone says no, you've entered the risk in the conflict zone. The risk in the conflict zone for us means that the customer could walk out, and then we're left with having to reel them back in. And so your hook, in order to draw them back in, if we're using the fishing analogy, which you hear me say on a frequent basis, I enjoy fishing. I was out last week, caught a really good sized pike. It was beautiful and love going out as much as I possibly can. When we leverage that hook to bring them in, the lure on that hook just has to be so irresistible and fantastic that any fish would bite. Any individual would jump on it and want to come in. And the sad part is that may be the expense of gross profit, and that'll consequently be at the expense of your commission. So what we want to do to, I don't want to so much say is mitigate that risk, but minimize, substantially lower and alleviate that risk, is you getting more comfortable with the word no. So what happens is maybe what you're saying and what you're doing is what's making the mistake in negotiation. For instance, when you say, and how many times have you heard this? What would it take to earn your business? Oh my gosh, just like the title of this stream said it, and the advertisements that I sent out to all of you, and in the Facebook group, you saw it. When you ask the customer what they want to pay, you have just given up on the negotiation. You've given up on selling the automobile. You've handed all of the control over to the customer. See, negotiation is a process that we use to get what we want when someone else has or controls something that we want. And what the customer has that we want is the money. Either they have the cash in their pocket, or they have the ability to get the cash through their credit score and their credit application with a financial institution. And so now we can finance them, and we can get paid because the bank cuts us a check for the whole amount of the money. And now the customer promises to pay the bank back. So the customer has the money to buy our product. We've got the product that they want to use with that money to buy something. And so this is the process that we use to get what we want when someone else has or controls something that they want. We've got the car, they've got the money, and you two are aligned. Where negotiation falls apart and where you get frustrated and annoyed is some of the tactics that were taught or suggested, or the coachable moments with your manager on a daily, hourly customer basis. Excuse me, pardon me. Some of those suggestions, those tactics, are what's holding you back. And absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, what will it take to earn your business is one of them. Let's go back to when that one came up. And if you've had success with what will it take to earn your business, I will say this much. It was a timing issue. It wasn't so much that is a good tactic. And think back to yourself when you had success with it and how many other times you've tried it and failed with it, because this is what customers want. Just before I get to how that tactic came along, customers want, and they'll tell you, and this is the reason why it's a terrible line, unless the timing is perfect. Number one, they want 0% on whatever automobile that they're buying. And it doesn't matter how much or how little money they make. Everybody wants 0%. Number two, they want zero money down. They don't want to put any of their hard-earned money down. They don't want to take any money out of their bank account. If the bank will finance the whole thing, including all the taxes, and it's 0%, why would I put any money down? That only makes sense. The disadvantage to you and I and the customer, we're all in the same boat, is that it extends the trade cycle. When the customer finances, in my particular region, 113% of the product, because tax is 13%, the product is the 100%. When they finance 113%, not only do they lose the 25% depreciation, but you add to it the taxes because you never get the taxes back. And now we're looking at 130, you're looking at 38%, which is the reason why so many customers say, you know, a vehicle is the worst purchase you can make. You lose 40% driving off the lot. No, you don't. You only lose 25%, but you lose whatever the tax component is in your state, your province, if you're adding the tax on the price of the vehicle to finance the whole amount. And that's what slows down what I call the trade cycle. And the trade cycle is how quickly someone will fall out of love of their vehicle and want to buy a new one. And that makes you more money selling to the people you've already earned the know, like, and trust badge of honor with. And that's why your seasoned professional, that's why your high achiever is always doing so well, always has a full pipeline dripping into their sales funnel because they have negotiated these successful deals all the way along. And now all their customers come in and they skip the negotiation because only 83% of customers like to negotiate. That's a hard and fast statistic from the Automotive Business School of Canada, the National Automobile Dealers Association at Northwood University in Midland, Michigan. This is what we track on a routine basis. And so coming back to what will it take to earn your business, and the reason why I'm going to go so far as to say a stretch tactic. First of all, it does sound like desperation. It does sound like your commission breath coming out. But number two, this tactic was invented in the 70s, maybe earlier than that, maybe the 60s. I was not selling automobiles in the 70s. I wasn't selling automobiles in the 80s either. I didn't start until the 90s. And yes, that was a tactic that was widely used, widely coached, widely suggested and recommended that I should use with clients. So what I found every single time was the customer came back with those same three things. I want to pay no money down. I want 0% interest. And not that they came along with the third one, but it's no payments forever. That's what it'll take to earn my business right now today. If you can't do no payments forever, then I'm going to go home and sleep on it. I'm going to think about it. I didn't get it in that capacity. I want to pay nothing and drive away. Otherwise, I got to think about it. But I got something along those lines, and you probably do too. So the secret to closing more deals on your terms would be to avoid that statement at all costs. And instead of asking them, what would it take to earn their business? If you felt that that is prudent and it would work for you, and you see other people doing it and they say it's a great thing, then change it up a little bit, because in the 90s and in the 2000s, pre-internet, or let's say pre-internet vastness, the wonderful, beautiful websites that we have now, the vast amount of information that has been compiled by Google and so many others. And then with the advent of AI and ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude, the ability for us to communicate with what appears to be somebody thinking the way someone would, giving us a direct comparison between this vehicle, this vehicle, this vehicle. What is a better time to buy? Winter, spring, summer, or fall time of the year? What's the best way to purchase? Lease, finance, cash? What is the cheapest way to buy an automobile? Lease, finance, or cash? Put money down, don't put any money down. Trade my vehicle and sell it privately. All of those questions can be answered so fast and quite efficiently. I do it on a regular basis with my bots that I have created, and they know that conversation, and I'm happy to share with you. We're building a whole program on it, how to build your files with Claude in the desktop version, build your projects with ChatGPT. But the bottom line is, customers have so much more information now today than they did back then when those lines were invented. And so as opposed to asking, what would it take to earn your business, which happened when we had window sticker prices on the cars. And window stickers were new in the 80s. They haven't been around that long. Having said that, we're talking about 40 years, obviously, or more. But the window sticker was typically removed by a lot of dealers when it arrived on the lot, because it forced the customer to come in and then walk into the showroom and ask a salesperson, how much is that particular vehicle out there, which opened the door for an interview, product presentation, demonstration, and our sales funnel. In other words, today we don't have that freedom and flexibility, because the internet at 4 o'clock in the morning could provide a client with all of that information they want to find out. So you can't say, or you shouldn't say, what would it take to earn your business? Because if every shopper is a buyer, and you must believe that, they're either buying the trade-in that they're currently driving, or they're buying your new vehicle. That wasn't the case pre-internet. People had to come into the dealership to do their shopping. Now they're done. It's finished. This is the reason why Google says customer shops 3 stores on average. Like that's it for price, for selection, for availability, for salesperson, because they've got all the information they need. And at the end of the day, they've recognized time is money. And it's not a lot of fun to go in on a beautiful Saturday and spend 3-4 hours learning all about all the vehicles at the car dealership, unless they are an aficionado and a true enthusiast type buyer. Everybody else has somewhere else to be: mountain biking, dirt biking, snowmobiling, ATVing, swimming, boating, enjoying time with the family, gardening, whatever you like to do. So what would it take to earn your business has now, in my opinion, and what works best for me at my dealership, has evolved to that wouldn't stop you from buying. Now, would it? So when you get that tough customer, and all hard act negotiators, the 17% of the entire world, and it's not really 17%, 83% don't like to negotiate. So the process of elimination says 17% then therefore do like to negotiate. That's not true. As we move up into the 60s, 70s, and 80%, people get more interested in negotiating, even though they admit that they don't like to negotiate. And those that are in the 17%, the 17 going down to 15 and down to 10, don't really love to negotiate, but aren't afraid to negotiate. And then, of course, there's the 1%ers that absolutely do love it. So whomever you have, high in that 20% of the entire population range that admit that they do like to kind of negotiate, that's part of the game of purchasing an automobile, like to do, just ask them, if I can't do this number, that wouldn't stop you from owning the vehicle. Because at the end of the day, it's that kind of commitment that you're looking for. And that will interrupt their pattern. If they really are set out on getting the very best deal and they just tell you, give me the best number, or here's my number, can you do it? Yes or no? Because they want to get out of there and get on to the next place and just find the one that's going to do their number. Or they're just flat out afraid that you will say yes. We buy based on 3 motivations: desire, fear, and pain. And I believe I believe the desire is already there. It's top of mind. It's this high. It's fantastic. They want to own your new vehicle. They love your brand. They like your dealership. They don't know who you are. They want to get to know you. They want to believe that you're an honest, open, transparent salesperson that's going to deliver what they're looking for. And of course, there's things that we do and say that can compromise that. Now, the other thing that you don't want to do in negotiation is jump out of your office and leave. I see this on a regular basis when I'm doing my dealer visits and talking with salespeople and managers and owners, whether I'm doing a podcast. And by the way, I've got a great podcast coming up. We're going to film it on Friday, 3 podcasts. Number 1 is salesperson became dealer principal and partner. Went from selling automobiles, and we're really selling automobiles well. Now, you don't need to be really selling well. You need to be well capitalized. He wasn't. He's going to tell his story. I don't want to blow the whole thing, but he literally went from selling automobiles on the showroom floor to owning a Toyota dealership. He was a junior partner in that store, and then recognized that this wasn't his end goal. It was challenging and exciting, and he learned a lot, obviously, and he made a lot of money, obviously, and then became dealer principal managing partner of a Ford dealership in a very substantial metropolitan market, and they're selling 200 vehicles a month. They didn't do that before he got there. They were doing that a long time ago, pre-pandemic. And then, of course, the dealership really fell down and leadership changed significantly and ownership changed as well. And he came along and really has turned it all around with his team. So you'll get a chance to see the podcast of his general sales manager, who's a fantastic guy. Just bought a brand new Porsche for himself. And I don't think Jesse's very old. Anyhow, you get to see his rags to riches story as well. And their hero card is their top salesperson. And Max sold 53 vehicles in 1 month, single-handedly. When you get to 25, 26, 28 on a predictable, consistent basis, I will always recommend that you need to have a staff, at least one person assisting you with the calls you need to make, the follow-up, sometimes the deliveries that go on, and then coordinating lease returns and so on like that. He did it single-handedly. So we're going to find out all about what his story is. And he's a sales professional, and he has no aspirations that I know of purchasing a dealership. And Max, if you're watching, I hope I'm not putting words in your mouth, but we're really anxious to hear your story. When it comes to negotiation, what all these guys know, what they've all learned early on in their career is that you must get so confident with being able to hear no in your negotiations and recognizing that when somebody says no, all we've done is enter the risk and conflict zone. It doesn't mean that the deal's finished and done and they should go away. And so what I mean by that is the biggest mistake I see average, ordinary automobile salespeople make, and it's because the training has failed you until now, and the training that you're getting here is stay in the office. Okay, so I used to say stay in the close, and you're not. Closing is such an act of finalizing. And this is the reason why it's so difficult for me to teach closing. And the reason why last week I was teaching the closing apparition, how we go about getting to the close. The close is signing on the dotted line. The close is getting the deposit, which are compliance mechanisms, which are a negotiation tactic, actually, not a closing tactic. The close is shaking their hand and congratulating them. Everything happening before that, if they don't simply agree to our price, is negotiation. And the reason I put negotiation after the close is that you asked for it. You're like, Bill, teach me how to close better. Teach me how to close faster. I don't think closing is your problem. Your problem is when you're doing it. The close should happen at the beginning of the welcome. What car did you come in and see and drive today? And that's why I separate negotiation. You're not negotiating with the client at that point. Nobody is saying no to that. They may say, no, I don't want to drive it, but I'd like to see. So even though there is a no, it doesn't mean we're negotiating. We may negotiate with them when we sit in the car to drive it around the building. We may negotiate with them once they're in the vehicle and driving around the building to drive it on the roadway. You're right. Negotiation can happen because the word no. But where we're weak and where we don't get enough teaching and training on this is when the customer says no to the price, we have been taught to jump up and run to the desk. And maybe your desk has said, no, you get a price and bring it up here and we work the deal at the desk. You don't work the deal at your desk. So just get a number out of the customer and bring it to the desk. And while in concept, in theory, it's a great idea, it doesn't work in practicality. Because if you're selling a $67,000 something or other, car, truck, SUV, and the customer thinks that, you know what, if I start you somewhere around 50, and then we meet somewhere in between, like 57, 58, that's a good deal. It's a good deal for me. And that's all that they think. They don't think it's a good deal for you. They don't care about you. They just go, it's a good deal for me. And if the dealer accepts it, it's a good deal for them. And so there we have a win-win. Everybody's winning. I didn't pay 50, but I came up on my price. They didn't get 67. They came down on their price. Bob's your uncle. And I'm not really sure if Bob is the same uncle that we all have. Excuse me. Pardon me. One moment. It's race season this time of the year. So throat gets a little bit dry and I get that frog in there. Mountain bike racing. For those of you that don't know me, I like to do that on a regular basis. That's my enjoyment, my pastime. But when the customer makes you that offer, don't jump up and rush out of your desk to the sales desk. Stay in your seat. Look disappointed because now what they're suggesting is that the car you've been showing and selling to them is not the one that they should actually go with. That's not within their budget. And number two, negotiate with them. Now, look, if you're asking us to lower our price, you got to show some movement as well, Mr. and Mrs. Customer. So you're asking us to lower our price, but you're not coming up on your price. That doesn't make any sense. Like, why would I present something to my boss where I go, this is the only number? There's nothing in it for me. There's nothing in it for you. There's nothing in it for the dealership. It's just a go nowhere discussion. So if you like to negotiate, you want to negotiate, and you can say that point blank to them because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get a deal. They may say something very contradictory, and this will really throw you for a loop. I've had it several times. They say, I don't like to negotiate. So that's why I've pitched you a number. And they just want you to accept their number. And that's not true. Because I've had this happen as well. They will go away several times, not just once, several times over the course of my 30 years of selling automobiles. They go away and they think to themselves, maybe if I fought a little harder, I could have got more off. And that's exactly what happens every time. That's exactly how buyer's remorse happens. So if it's happened to you, my heart goes out to you. I know exactly what you're going through and how that all happens. So the bottom line is stay at your desk. Look disappointed. Look at the floor. Nonsensible words like, dang, okay. Well, you know what? I think I've got a solution. And jump up out of your desk and tell them to follow you. And then go out onto the lot and start showing them what the number that they want to pay, be it biweekly, monthly, or gross payment, or gross payment as in one price, the selling price plus taxes, and they're just going to bring in a draft or cash or whatever it is for it. Show them what that's going to buy. Because you got to get them to say, no, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. And I go through this on a daily basis as well. Everything I share with you right here is tried and tested out there on my showroom floor. I love teaching, speaking, and training like this, and I do it quite frequently across Canada and the US, but I also love selling automobiles, being with my guys and my team and out there selling them in the trenches with all of you. And that's the reason why I do this, so that you don't have to go through the struggles that I did, and because I love formulating systems that work so that you can duplicate the success. Look, I don't have everybody in Canada and North America, so you don't have to worry about the fact that, wow, you know, if you've got all of these people following you, Bill, like, you know, I'm going to have more competition. You don't. You've got a competitive advantage being here right now. What you really should do is, if you like what I've shared with you here in negotiation, and you've reviewed maybe some of my shorts and some of the closing and some of the product skills and the prospect harvesting, think about joining the Manifesto. The Manifesto is where you become a member of the Auto Dealership Academy. For those of you here in YouTube and Instagram and my LinkedIn channel, yeah, you're watching it based on the Auto Dealership Academy, but we have an exclusive members group whereby you get an opportunity to be on the inner circle, and it is really affordable. It's super easy to sign up to. I will put a link below to book a time in my calendar, or just request more information about it. For those of you on LinkedIn, Auto Dealership Academy, YouTube channel, and Instagram, I want to encourage you to join everybody on the Auto Sales Academy private members Facebook group. Might be a little easier for you to pick this information up, and then you get to see the videos in order in your feed based on this group that you join. And of course, there's some exclusive things there specifically, and I'm super excited about it. And this is the one shameless plug I'm going to give for this particular video, is the join the sell 10 cars in 10-day free challenge. So you must be a member of the Auto Sales Academy. If you are a member of the Auto Sales Academy on Facebook, the private members, free private members group, then you can get that. Go to the Files tab and download the workbook and start your free sell 10 cars in 10 days challenge. I'm super excited about this. I think I'm the only one that's ever come up with a challenge in the automobile business for selling cars. And of course, you'll go back and you'll post in the private members group the successes you've had all the way along. And then you may want to consider taking it to the next level and becoming a member of the Auto Dealership Academy, where we hold your hand all the way through to make sure you hit your objectives, you nail the target that the dealership has set for you, and you exceed your goals through our system of 3 phases and 9 steps. And with that, gang, I'm going to button this up. Have a fantastic day and a super weekend as we go into the holiday next week. We will have a class on Tuesday. That is my plan right now. If that changes, I'll notify everybody within the group and on the respective platforms. So assume that we will have a class on Thursday, the 2nd of July, after the big holiday. And that is all that I have for you. Have a fantastic day, and don't hesitate to comment on the video. Ask me a question, reach out to me. I'm here for you. I'm happy to answer questions, learn a little bit about your struggles and plights, wins and successes, and most importantly, how I can make these classes absolutely magnificent, dynamite for you, specifically targeting on what are customers doing to you right now. Again, have a wonderful day. My name is Bill Harvey with the Auto Dealership Academy and the Auto Sales Academy private members Facebook group. If you're not a member of that group, get in there and join. There's over 514 members in there right now, all capitalizing on tons of free training and starting that challenge. So go ahead and wander over to that. It's a ton of fun. Talk to you again real soon. Bye-bye for now.